Hi, friend. Welcome to Wild and Waking, a sacred space for the woman unraveling what no longer fits, remembering the truth that's always lived inside her, reclaiming her joy, her voice, her power, and rising fully, fiercely, and without apology. I'm your host, Emily Rushell, and together we'll explore what it means to live in alignment, lead with soul, and awaken a life of abundance, authenticity, and purpose. Let's begin. Hi, friends, and welcome back to Wild and Waking. It has been a minute, more than a minute, since I have recorded a solo episode. Life has been lifing. Maycember has been Maysembering. I have 2 elementary school kids, and in the month of May, we pack in every ounce of field trip, dance recital, Mother's Day, baseball practice, baseball games, like all the things. I have a toddler and a now 4-month-old, and life has been lifing. And just as soon as I thought, okay, we're going to get back in the swing of solo episodes, Andrew threw out his back. Doesn't even sound like it explains the extremity of the situation. He has been functionally immobile for over a week. We are awaiting appointments. It's been a lot. And so it's funny because for the past couple of weeks, I have wanted to record an episode of like, what does it feel like on the other side of integration? Like when everything comes back together and it doesn't feel so hard and not everything's so confusing. And like we really are claiming our sovereignty and our truths and our belief system. And like we've kind of stepped into the new identity that over any period of time we've been working to navigate and create. The irony is not lost on me that in the pursuit of wanting to record an episode like that, our family has been going through a period of surviving more than thriving. And it's fine. It is so truly fine. Is it hard? Yes. I have driven over 400 miles this week just in taking people to ball games and doctor's appointments and practices and babysitters and all of the above. And even still, I have worked 3 hours total, one of which doing a podcast interview, one of which like getting some back end stuff done on that, and one of which just cleaning out my email inbox. And so here we are on a Friday morning. I am downstairs recording before I take these children out of the house to go to the park and the pool. They are upstairs with a list. Their grandmother is also there to supervise at this moment. But here we are. And like I said, the irony is not lost on me that here I was being like, I can't wait to record this episode. I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so grounded. Everything's kicking into place. I am ready to hit the ground running. I have so many ideas and programs and content and stuff that I am bursting at the seams to implement. And life has been like, remember that lesson about like presence and patience and trust? We're gonna hang on to that a little bit longer. But I think part of the integration is really being okay with that and holding the tension between what is here and what is becoming. The tension between this like really pent up energy that is like so excited to be expressed. It doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel graspy. It doesn't feel out of reach. It's just here. It's bubbling. And the very real life that I am in at this moment is calling me forward in other ways. And what a gift. What a gift that in a lot of ways my business has downshifted as far as what I'm creating and what is on my calendar, just on this other side of having a baby and kind of the maternity leave-ish era. What a gift that I have the absolute ability to do that. And also the frustration that I have to manage, the rage that I have to sit with when, the part of me that's screaming, like, what about me? I have things that I want to do. I'm not getting what I need. And there is a lot of healing on the other side of like recognizing that, honoring that, not dismissing that, because that's what an old version of me would have done. I would have been bitter, resentful, angry, frustrated, lashy. And so it's just like this interesting place to hold the space for it all and keep rooting into the nothing is an emergency. Nothing is an emergency. And also knowing, oh my gosh, it is time. It is so freaking time because for me, and I'm sure for a lot of us here, the act of creation and doing and building and like channeling our energy into purpose into something that we love and lights us up gives us a lot of life force. And so to be in such a period of time, not just the past couple of weeks, but really looking back a year or so, to kind of have been in this void, in this cave of just death portal, ego death, like whatever you want to call it, and feel energetically in so many ways on the other side of it and not be able to do anything with it is, it's something. It is something. But anyway, that's what we're here to talk about today. Earlier this month, we had our Bloomfire retreat. It is an idea that dropped in during ceremony for me in September. And with no exaggeration, I could show you the page in my notebook, like the entire thing dropped in at once of exactly what the intention was, what we were going to do, what it was going to be like, who it was going to be for. And the weekend was that and so much more. We gathered in this so cool and so random castle that sat on 100 acres in rural Missouri. Like whoever put this together really was intentional about it. And I have so many questions of like, who built this and why? Like, what kind of money were they playing with where they were like, let's just buy 100 acres in the middle of nowhere and build a legit castle? But we gathered there. We did so much Reiki. The intention was for Reiki to be like a part of the weekend. And we just kept going. And Reiki is very cool. And I know you've heard me talk about it several times on the podcast. But the thing I love the most about Reiki attunement, specifically in the way that my friend Jada does it, is I feel like it is an entire experience of like coming into your power and recognizing and embracing your magic. It was such an expander for me last September when I got attuned. And so being able to do that with this group of women was remarkable. Most of the women there have been working with me, listening to the podcast, kind of like integrated in this community for years. And so I have really watched each of them go through so many evolutions and so many journeys and let go of old stories and conditioning and expectations and roles and identities and careers and relationships. And I have watched them blossom and flourish and stumble and weep and sit with really hard things and become entirely different versions of themselves, yet more themselves than ever before. And speaking for, I think, all of us, Bloomfire Weekend felt like a marker in time of really getting to honor the journeys we've been through, the caves that we've been in, the dark nights that we've navigated, the seasons where everything felt hard and confusing and scary and disorienting, and where we didn't know what was coming next and who was going to be okay with it and what that meant for our lives and our senses of self. And to gather in the way that we did and to be in circle in ceremony together, to be out in the elements, to be sitting around a fire, to be learning energy work and practicing on each other was such a moment of expansion and reclamation and like really coming into this next era of ourselves, right? We are forever on a journey of evolution. We are forever a work in progress. We are always changing and expanding and growing. But there are seasons that are marked by winter, so to speak. And Bloomfire felt like the coming of spring, both in what was actually happening in the world, right? This was the first weekend in May, but also for everyone that was attracted there and really releasing the pieces of us that we were ready to let go of that served us so well for whatever reason, whether we liked them or not. We did an incredible release ritual under the full moon on Beltane We integrated a lot of the lores and the stories and the celebrations of Beltane. But getting to do that ceremony, the ceremonies that we did and the ritual together was so magical. We got to do these, photo shoots where we got to play dress up and just imagine and practice being the women that we were becoming. And that's such, whether you call it manifestation or goal setting or prayer or intent, like whatever, it all comes together when we set the intention for where we're going, regularly practice the art of becoming, and like practice putting it on while it still feels uncomfortable. And that is so much of what this past year has looked like as I've been exploring new ideas and asking different questions and reading books and following new creators and leading conversations on the podcast. And I've had many moments over the last month where I have been like hit with a crashing wave of like, I'm here. A concrete example of that, I'm currently in a mastermind called The Oracle, and the coach that facilitates had done an entire recording all about like seasonality in your business. And she's talking about like the seasons outside, the cycles in our body, like how that integrates in our business, the moon, like yada, yada, yada. And I remember this time last year listening to podcasts about this and like feverishly writing notes in my notebook of like, oh my gosh, this is all so new and so exciting and so real. And I think back to a particular weekend or event that I drove to in Wisconsin where it was like an 8-hour drive there and back. And it felt like my own personal initiation into the work that I'm doing today. And everything equal parts felt like, oh my gosh, yes, this is here. This has always been waiting for me. This is so true in my bones. I have always known this to be true. And also, this is all brand new. I'm drinking from a fire hose. And in listening to this recording, there was not a singular thing that she said that felt like new information or something I didn't understand or something I wasn't already doing. And it was this moment of like, oh my gosh, it's here. I know that last summer, maybe early last fall, I recorded an episode about integration and how annoying, frustrating it is when you're in the process of understanding something intellectually, but it isn't fully integrated in your body and in your truth, in your day-to-day life, and in your existence in a way that you could speak to it freely without it feeling like you're borrowing someone else's words or like trying to teach an idea that you don't fully understand, even if logically, intellectually, like brain version of you does understand it. But everything about this, I was like, oh yeah, I could literally have recorded this myself, which was incredible. There was another moment we very impulsively decided to host my daughter's 7th birthday party. Now, readers and friends, listeners and friends, her birthday was in March. It came and went with the newborn trenches. So gold star mom of the year, finally in May, she'd been asking and asking. She just wanted to have a princess party. She wanted to have her friends over. She wanted to play dress up and like play games and have a tea party. So on a Friday afternoon, I found like every mom that I could on Facebook that was like in her class and like on her softball team and in her Girl Scout troop. It was like, this is so last minute, but on Sunday we're having a party from this time to this time. Can you come? And we ended up having, I don't know, 8 or 10 or 11 girls, which was incredible. But in doing that, there is nothing like hosting a party at your house to like get your shit together and get your house decorated. So on that Friday morning, my friend Tracy, who has been helping us do some of the renovations and little projects to colorify our house, was installing some new shelves in my dining room. Now, I used to have shelves there, but when we bought them, they were cheaper. They were from Wayfair. They were like they were supposed to be like the floating shelves, you know what I mean? But they were like always pointing down and we were like shoving pieces of like wood and cardboard to make it so everything didn't fall off. They were not stable. So she did something much, much, much better after we painted the walls, this like beautiful aged wine color that we're obsessed with. And so I was redecorating them. Now, I love my books organized by rainbow. I love everything organized by rainbow. I literally always have my closet is organized by rainbow. I remember being in college and being at like fraternity parties in like boys' rooms, and I would organize their closets by rainbow while we were drinking because that's fun for me. Anyway, my books have always been organized by rainbow. My office, the books upstairs, yada, yada. So I'm like organizing all of this. And also, I decided that that was the day that I was also going to unpack from Bloomfire. You know the reels that you see that are like, we're having company over today and my husband is vacuuming the roof or like doing some obscure job. Like that was me. Let me unpack this giant box of shit from this retreat that was, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, that's like covered in candle wax because I bought cheap candles on Amazon and they dripped like crazy, which is going to make for some really great pictures, let me tell you. But wow, everything was covered in candle wax. So I have this box of like candlesticks, half burned candles. I got sage. I got a cauldron. I got incense. I got lighters. I got Palo Santo. I got this like little chalice that I bought at a thrift store at a retreat that I went to in October. I have this like little, I have like all of this witchy stuff that we use at the retreat for ceremony, for Reiki. I got crystal. I got a whole kit and caboodle and I'm unpacking it. I'm taking all the wax off and I'm like, I love this stuff. I have used all of this stuff. It is pretty. It makes me happy. I have collected it. I have thrifted it. I am not hiding it in my basement. No. Also, my office in my basement is overflowing with books. I'm bringing some of them upstairs. Now, I did leave the witchiest of witchy books downstairs because I like to reference them when I'm working. But I brought stuff upstairs that had some titles that would catch your attention. And I decorated those shelves and I hung up another shelf with all of my books and the things we use for ceremony and things that were so pretty and updated pictures. And it felt, this like sounds so silly coming out of my mouth, but like, this is my home. And it finally is starting to represent us and me and like my journey. If you've been following along with this plot for any amount of time, our house flooded in 2023. And at the time, it was like the epitome of the millennial gray farmhouse aesthetic. We nailed it. We nailed it, guys. And after our house flooded, we were like, there is no ounce of color or representation of who we are as like, this is the most boring, look at us trying to be good adults shit I've ever seen. And it was pretty. People would walk into our house and be like, it looks like a magazine. And I'm like, yeah, and everything's from Hobby Lobby. What? And so that was the beginning of this whole journey of making our house colorful. But it, like, part of it is adding this like art and these trinkets and these things that I love and make me like, I walk into my dining room now and I'm so happy. It's full of like plants and pretty things. But it's not the average decor that you would expect to see in a house. And I knew that all my daughter's friends' parents were going to be walking into that room. That's the room we walk into. And so it was kind of this other like, this is me. This is this integration, right? We have been through this journey of like, ooh, the first time I walked in a crystal shop and it felt scary, right? Or the books that I was picking up, or, oh my gosh, if I say this thing, everyone on the internet's going to be mad at me. Oh, if I release this podcast episode, it's going to blow up. And like, what are people going to think? Or if I dress this certain way, if I say this thing, if I have this conversation, oh my goodness, what is going to happen? And now I can understand that though some of that fear was real in perception, a lot of it was a projection of my inner world of like, am I bad for this? Am I wrong for this? Right? That's always what it is. It's always the reflection of our inner world, right? But just decorating my house and inviting people in felt like no, this is me. Take it or leave it. This is a very specific example, but there is an activity my kids are a part of, and every time I go, one of the parents is wearing a like Charlie Kirk shirt. Like every time. That's a choice. It's not just once. It's more times than not. And I'm like, I just got this really cute shirt for my retreat. It's like this lilac purple. It has witches dancing around the fire under a moon, and it says "Girls will be girls." A little edgy for a good girl like me. And I'm like, why am I sitting here being like, this is weird? What are people going to think when I'm going into public and you're wearing that every day? Like, it's objectively funny when you start walking around and noticing, like, how come you can wear, and I'm not just saying that example, right? But like, You can go anywhere and see anyone wearing church-related paraphernalia around here, around these parts, right? Why am I doubting who I am when I feel this is so true for me? And so like that's been a layer of reclamation. And I feel like it's interesting going through like a deconstruction process because once you start peeling back the layers, right? There's like you're kind of angry and salty and feel like annoyed that you ever absorbed any of this, and like anything makes you cringe. You like hear praise music and you're like, bah! Or you see someone post about a baptism and now you're like, bah! Or whatever. And like now I'm so far on the other side that I'm like, oh, that's so cute. That's like what you believe. I love that for you. Like I love your anointing ritual and your blessings and your incense and your intentions with your prayers and your invocation. Like it's all the same stuff. There's a book that I bought for our family recently. I think, what's it called? I think it's called Oh My Gods. I'm pretty sure. And it goes through the history of human time from the lens of like worship and spirituality. And it talks about, Greek mythology and Egyptian culture and then like the onset of Christianity. It goes through like every major religion and belief system. And it's basically talking about how, all of these things were created at a moment in time based on what was happening as a way for the people to be able to understand the world around them or to like achieve a certain goal. And it's like when you like really zoom out, you're like, oh, it's so serious and also not that serious. Like you actually get to choose how you live. You actually get to choose how you believe. And all of it has the possibility of being equal parts true or not true. Like, I don't know. I am but a speck of dust on this planet who is going to be here for a blip in time. Why am I trying to live by a set of rules that someone else created that I don't even like? And I think that's the point that you get to of like, you can live in your cage, but it's not mine. I am not playing by those rules anymore. Like, and you cannot impose those rules upon me. And if you do, it's not my problem. Like the funniest thing for me, especially on like threads, is when people come in and like start arguing stuff with Bible verses to people who do not care. It's like, you can argue that all you want, but if I'm not playing by that set of rules, like you're wasting your breath. So I see people who are in spaces or beliefs or mindsets that I used to be in. And I'm like, you are under so many mountains of pressure and expectation and fear, and I'm free. I'm not there anymore. So I don't have to play by those rules, right? And it gives this like different lens of like, that's objectively sad that you feel like that's your only option because you don't realize there's another way, or you have been so deeply conditioned to even look at the alternative, right? And I think we see this in politics, in not just religion, like, but identity as a whole. When you are so deeply trapped in a belief system that is threaded through the core of your identity, through the core of who you are, it is visceral to imagine life outside of it. So of course, this is hard. Of course, this unraveling is disorienting. Of course, you feel like you're in a cave. Of course, you feel like you're in the womb. Of course, it feels dark and scary because you're willing to sit with it and ask questions and reintegrate new information. But I promise it does not feel that way forever. I promise there will come a time where it will wash away. And maybe every now and again it like pokes back up and you can be like, that's not mine. That's not mine anymore to hold. Yesterday I was getting my hair done and I have wanted to put pink in my hair since I was a teenager. I distinctly remember even sitting in the TV room of my sorority house being like, just thinking about how much I wanted to have pink in my hair. But I have stopped myself. First, it was like, oh, my hair's not long enough, or I can't pull that off. And then it was like, well, I'm a teacher, so I have to be professional. And then it was like, well, I'm a mom, and moms don't have pink hair. And what it really came down to was this idea of like, am I good? Which is so stupid because I don't look at other people with different colors of hair and be like, you're a bad person. But like, that was the rules in which I had imposed upon myself. So I was getting my hair done yesterday, and we made a plan to put the sunset in my hair. the next time. Now, I don't desire the look of like all over color. I'm already doing enough to keep my roots brown. But like some pop and some play, hell yeah. I know that as soon as I'm done breastfeeding, I am getting at least 3 tattoos. I have wanted a tattoo since I was in college, but why have I stopped myself? Well, first of all, commitment. Like, am I going to like this thing forever? But now I'm like, who cares? That's why I did my house gray and white, because I was so afraid of not liking something someday. So why not be the most basic ass vanilla bitch? Because then at least it's neutral, and then at least I won't hate it. Newsflash, I still hate it, right? When we choose the middle line, the neutral, the vanilla, the white and gray, the normal, all we're doing is holding ourselves back from our greatest soul's expression. And I know someone's going to say, no, but I actually really do like that. So did I. I actually really did. And I think that I actually really did because I was too afraid of anything else. Yesterday, I had to change the sheets on my daughter's bed. And it was like too close to bedtime to actually get the sheets washed. If you know, you know. So I was like digging through our bin of like discarded sheets, right? And found my sheets from college. You know what they were? I tie-dyed them. Pink, purple, blue. And then I put them away when I moved into my first apartment after college and decorated my college apartment like a grown-up. So many of us are carrying these micro experiences of putting away, literally putting the sheets in the box, pushing down these like desires that ping to us because on some level we believe that they are bad or wrong or dangerous or for someone else, or we are crippled with the fear of the perception of what it means to be the fullest extent to our expression. And if you resonate with that, I just want to give you a big old hug because same girl. This is not me shaming you. This is me opening the door for permission for you to add color, creativity, spirituality, like whatever it is. It's not that serious. The economy's crumbling. Everything is shit in one way or another. Why are we still worried about what other people are like? We have 100 years on this planet at best. And you and I are going to sit here and overthink what someone thinks of the fact that I have crystals on my dining room shelf. Like, come on. Be so serious. Wear the hat, dye your hair, paint the wall. I don't care. And I know the process of evolving is fucking hard. That's what I'm here for. Okay. Literally the coven, the group programs I facilitate, the one-on-one mentorship that I have to offer, the new stuff that I'm putting together. It is all here to help you walk through those seasons of identity evolution because it is brutal and it is so much better to do it with someone or many people who deeply see and feel where you're at and challenge you and who you can borrow the confidence from as you become. There is genuine magic of doing life and transformation with women in community. But at the very bare minimum, I hope that you take away from this episode an ounce of permission to be more yourself or figure out who she is or peel back enough to be brave enough to discover. And to actually fully know that if you are in that messy season where everything feels scary and hard and overwhelming and you don't know if it's ever going to get better, I promise that it does. Winter does not last forever. Sometimes it feels like it does. Sometimes it might be more than a year. Sometimes it might be 5 years. I don't know your journey or your story, but it will not last forever. Someday you will welcome the world into your living room, so to speak. Whatever that metaphor means for you, and you will be integrated on the other side in a way that your truth feels like yours. It is not something to hide. It is not something to live in shame. It is not a place to be in fear because you will have done the work to be so whole and integrated that it will feel as normal as breathing. I love you, my friend. I am so thankful to be on this journey together. If this happened to be the first episode you ever listened to, wow, scroll back and see the whole journey unfold. It has not always been quite this way. And it doesn't mean that life is magically easy. I think there's also that perception of like, oh, once I get through this, then life will all just be sunshine and roses and rainbows and everything will be so easy. And if it's not easy, it's not aligned. Bullshit. I started this episode telling you about what's going on in my house. The point is to be fully alive, to be able to navigate the good and the hard and everything in between, knowing that you are authentically yourself. You are living to your soul's expression, regardless of what is happening around you. And to know that seasons just don't last forever. So until next time, I am so forever grateful for you. It was such a joy to be here with you today. Have a good one. Hey friend, I hope this conversation sparked something real in you. Something that feels like truth, curiosity, or the courage to keep becoming. If this episode resonated, I'd love for you to share it. Take a screenshot, post it to your stories, or send it to one of your friends. You can always find me over on Instagram at Emily Rushel, where I love continuing these conversations and hearing your takeaways. Truly, your DMs are one of my favorite parts of podcasting, so don't be shy. I'd love to reflect and connect with you over there. I'm so grateful to be surrounded by a community of women who ask hard questions, sit in the discomfort of the unknown, blaze new paths forward, and ultimately come home to their wild and waking selves. See you next week.